Okay, for my Smartboard activity, I chose to do the standard 1MDB3. It's for first grade. It should take about 20 to 30 minutes, just depending on what size class you have. Your additional materials are going to be your Smartboard, and I also added a link in there to a game that you could play, which you could also do on the Smartboard. And for this, the standard requires that the student understands how to read digital and analog clocks. And the website, I chose the website that I did because of the game that it plays. It gives you digital and analog clocks, and I'll kind of explain that when we get to the website. Also, I did my own worksheet, which I created specifically for the Smartboard, just for this activity. And that, as you can see, I have two clocks. You have your analog clock and then your digital clock. And I already wrote on that one to test it out. But you're going to look, and it says, well, you can't see it, but it says show 4:30 on each clock. So for the analog clock, you're just gonna simply draw 4:30 in the boxes here. You can put a 0 here, I guess. And then for this one, you're gonna show 4:30 by drawing your arrows, your shorter arrow, then your longer arrow. And just going to keep going down. So the next one is show 6:45 on each clock. So obviously I think the analog or the digital one is easier. So I'm going to do 6:45. And then 6 is the hour, so we're going to do a shorter clock. And then 45 is the minutes. So it's going to be longer. So those are just two of the 4 that I did on my worksheet. And the other assignment that I looked at was this website right here. It's on ABCA, and it's basically, it says time travel, learn to tell time, and there's practice, and then there's like the levels of difficulty 1 through 4. So I'm going to do the practice, and you would click on go, and then click go again, and then click which kind of clock you want to do. So if I wanted to do this one, if you make it 10 o'clock, but actually I wanted to do the analog one first. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to do practice, go, and then analog is what we're going to click on. So it says make it 5 o'clock. So there's arrows right here below. It's kind of hard to see, but there's arrows right here below, and there's an up arrow and a down arrow for the hours, and then there's an up arrow and a down arrow for the minutes. So obviously it's 12 o'clock. I want it to be 5 o'clock. So I'm going to change it to 5 o'clock and then click check. So my power meter is going to go up. And so it says make it 6 o'clock. So if I made it 4 o'clock instead and click check, my power meter goes down. So this could be a fun game as a class to do with multiple students. The other one that I did was on a analog clock, and it's at 12 o'clock right now, well, 12 o'clock-ish, and it says make it 3 o'clock. So you're going to take these arrows down here, and you're going to press and hold the arrow until you get to 3 o'clock. So basically, the longer arrow is going to rotate around until it gets to 3 o'clock. And for some students, I would think that this would be more fun, personally, just because I don't know, getting to use the interactive tools of this would be much more fun for me, and as a student it would be anyways. Okay, so we made it to 3 o'clock. We're going to click check, and the same thing happens with this as it does with the other one. So if I was, as a teacher, what I think I would do is kind of do what I have here set up and have them using the same clock, but maybe in this one be team 1 and they're on an analog clock, and then the other one on team 2 on the other side. Or do a split screen. You'll have them side by side, and you could do both of these right next to each other, which would be kind of nice. You could have 2 people doing a time at the same time, or, you know, it would just be interesting to see how they would want to do this, because I would really put it up to the students how they'd want to do it, if they want to split into teams or just run practice and each student got to use the Smartboard, just because it is such an interesting piece of technology for students. But I used these, and then I have 2 more as well. but I just think that this is very simple, very easy to make. I just went online and just inserted these pictures here, and it's really easy for students just to go on here and just using the markers on the Smartboard. For kids, it's much more interesting to use the Smartboard, so that's how I would use it for this activity, especially since it's just a time-telling activity. It's not anything too hard, and it's like I said, it's reinforcing what they've already learned. It's not really teaching them, but this could also be helpful, like using the analog clock, because it is so much more difficult. It could be helpful trying to show them from in the front of the classroom how to do that. But that is my Smartboard activity.